Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Championship Prediction League. It's been a little while, I've been away in Asia, but I'm back now. I'm back with Gab Sutton, our EFL expert, ready to predict game week 40. Can you believe it, Gab, of the EFL Championship season? We've got so much to get stuck into, but I'll bring you up to date with the current scores. I got 11 last time out before the international break, taking me to a nice round 200 for the season so far. Ollie also got 11. He's on 176. And Gab, you got 7 onto 167. Plenty of work for you to do still.
I know.
Plenty of time for you to make up the grounds. It's 5 points. Let me remind you if you're playing along. 5 points up for grabs if you predict a game with 5 goals or more. It's 3 points up for grabs if you get a correct score. It's 1 point if you get a correct result. And with all that admin out the way, Gab, let's start with a blockbuster fixture early on Good Friday. How about Middlesbrough versus Millwall? Hey, to get us going.
What a game that is, Simon. Because if Millwall go to the Riverside and do a job on Middlesbrough, which has happened, Middlesbrough have dropped points at home against some lower oppositions, let alone Millwall, who are a very good counter-attacking side with some real pace and quality out wide, and a potential goal scorer in Ivanovic. Coburn as well. When paired with him, they can be dangerous. That would really put the cat among the pigeons in the automatic promotion race, wouldn't it, in terms of what looks like a 3-horse race for second, perhaps, with Coventry having put themselves in a really comfortable position. But Middlesbrough, whenever they've been doubted, they've also been able to come back with some big performances. I remember the performance at St Andrews a few weeks ago, which was very convincing. They got another win straight after that, I think. I'm going to have to sit on the fence for this one, Simon. I'm afraid I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
You know what, Gab? I am with you. Having watched, obviously, last time out was Ipswich 1, Millwall 1 at Portman Road. And that game I thought was a fascinating watch in terms of the way the teams went at it and went toe to toe. And there was that big chance for Millwall to win it late on. They couldn't quite get it done. But they were very, very impressive and resolute in that performance. I think Boro might be slightly more open at the back, and it'll be interesting to see how Femi Aziz and Ivanovic and Coburn try and take advantage of that. But I think this will be a very, very even draw, which leaves things just more and more in the balance. As I think you are probably right, we're looking at a 3-horse race now for second place. So we've matched each other up there. How about Leicester versus Preston? Gary Rowett really needs to get a couple more wins on the board to take Leicester away from danger. I think this game actually presents a really good opportunity for him to do that.
Completely agree. I think 1-0 to Leicester City. I've gone with a lot of 1-0 wins for Leicester since Gary Rowett took charge, because I've been quite a big believer in the principle of Gary Rowett's teams aren't going to concede many goals, and I think in general, I think that's going to bear fruit over time. I think that Preston at home is possibly one of the most favourable fixtures outside Sheff Wednesday that you can have, just because they are out of the playoff conversation at this stage of the season. And I think that Paul Heckingbottom side found themselves on the right side of fine margins. Don't get me wrong, some brilliant work's been done at Preston this season. They've made some huge strides, but I think they got on the right side of fine margins in the first half of the season, and maybe in the second half of the season. I think that could flip the other way, especially as the permutations come into play for when they play teams at both ends of the table. Big fan of Jordan James and Abdul Fattawi, as you know. I think they're going to be crucial at the business end. 1-0 for Leicester for me.
It's really interesting, isn't it, looking back at the results, because we've had this international break and Preston played the Friday before and beat Stoke 3-1 at home, but that felt like a bit of a rarity. I think Devine got 2 goals in that one, but it's so hard to judge now because we've had a proper reset over this international break, and we'll come to obviously Michael O'Neill and the work he's doing in the Championship relegation battle with Northern Ireland during this break. I don't know how this is happening, Gab, but I've agreed with you again. I promise I'm not copying you and saying that just to keep my lead, but I think
I
Leicester
agree
will
with
win
Gab.
this
It's
one.
the sign.
If I just do that, I've won. That's fine. Maybe that is my tactic. 1-0 Leicester is what I've gone for there. I think the home crowd need to play their part, and that will be important. But if they get ahead, they just need to get points on the board and try and get over the line. I think they can edge this game. Norwich versus Portsmouth is a very interesting game as well. I mean, how highly have we spoke of Norwich so far this season, especially under Philippe Clement, and what a team they've been to watch.
Yeah.
They're up to 10th now, Gab. They are still 9 points off the playoffs. Maybe that's too big a gap to bridge as well, given Southampton are in form in sixth place as well. But I think it's 4 wins out of their last 5, playing really well. And Portsmouth sliding us slightly concerningly towards that bottom 3, 1 point above Leicester, 1 point above Oxford. And they also need to get points on the board. I'm going 2-1 Norwich in this one.
You're
I think they
getting
will
in yours first.
and getting in there first, so I'm not judged to be copying you. What do you think about this one?
So I think I tend to have a policy of going for teams that are struggling relegation against mid-table sides at this stage of the season. But I'm going to go against my own rule for this one, just because I look at this Norwich team at the moment and they're playing with so much confidence, so much belief. Ali Ahmed on the left-hand side, I've been so impressed with. Javen Makama as well.
They're not really a mid-table team, are they?
No, and they're playing with so much belief at the moment. I just think that's going to carry them through. And actually, it might be one of those fun end of season games, where you can. I think you did this against Millwall a few years back, where you end up, because it doesn't matter, you can end up growing in confidence and end up with a cricket score. Wouldn't surprise me if we see something like that. So, do I go for the bonus points? There's the question. I'm going to go 4-1. To Norwich City in hope of getting the 5 points. So there
you go. Love the bonus point shout. Hull City, we need to look at next, mate. They're in 5th in the Championship, but they faced Oxford away from home this weekend. And Oxford, they had that run, didn't they? Have 3 wins on the bounce. They've dropped off slightly lately. They had that late equaliser they conceded at Charlton, then a defeat at Southampton, which is to be expected. But at home, they've been really good under Bloomfield. And I think they will get something here. But I'm going to throw over to you for your score prediction.
Yeah, so I've been really impressed by Matt Bloomfield and the impact that he's had at Oxford United, along with Mike Dodds, as I've mentioned previously, and so I do put a lot of weight in that resurgence. I also have some scepticism of Hull. I look at the way they defended for Sheff Wednesday's goal just before the international break, and I do feel like against a better team or a more upbeat team, shall we say, like Oxford United, who are playing with plenty of spirit at the moment, I do wonder how that's going to translate. But then I've been saying about Hull all season, but I'm going to go with a surprise Oxford United win. I know Hull fans in the comments are going to say you hate Hull, but I'm going to go with it. I think Oxford are going to win this one to boost their survival chances, and I'm going to go 2-1 to the Yellows.
I'm not quite as brave as you. I've gone for a 1-1 draw, but I do think Oxford will get something here. Hull keep proving us wrong, and I'm sure they will love to prove us wrong in the playoffs if they get there come the end of the season. It's looking fairly good for them. Gab, correct me if I'm wrong. For some reason, when I was on holiday, I had a quick look at Twitter, and I saw that Roy Hodgson was in the Bristol Rovers press conference and I thought this must be some sort of skit. Bristol City, sorry, Bristol Rovers, don't want Bristol City press conference, and apparently that's happened. Apparently that is a thing to the end of the season. They face Charlton away from home. What do you make quickly of this appointment and the change, getting Gerhard Struber out and Hodgson in at Bristol City?
I don't see it having the impact that Charlie Boss, the new CEO of Bristol City, envisages. I think the idea from what Charlie said in his media stuff is they think they can use Roy Hodgson's experience to sort of set some standards ahead of the new appointment of a sporting director at Bristol City, and then the new head coach that's going to be coming in possibly in a couple of months. But I think I do think that Roy Hodgson is a bit too old. I think he's a bit past it. There was a sort of slightly comedic point in the press conference where Roy Hodgson says, I don't know what a sporting director is. And Charlie Boss then later, like 2 minutes after that, said, I'd be mad if I didn't tap into Roy's knowledge on what makes a great sporting director. So, yeah, I feel a bit harsh pointing that out, but I think it shows, there's a bit of light that you can sort of make of that. But I think, I'm not sure I see it being a complete turnaround. And I kind of think with Charlton, they've had some good results recently. 7 points from their last 4 games, of course. They've won at Middlesbrough. They beat Birmingham City as well. So a fairly positive March for the Addicts. I think they're going to get another victory, which would put them, which would sort of secure their place in the race for survival. They've already got a 9-point cushion. I think they're going to get over the 50 mark on Good Friday afternoon.
Yeah, and score prediction, what was it?
Oh, of course. Just that. I'm going to go with 1-0 to Charlton.
I've gone for 2-0 to Charlton based on the same theory. I'm not expecting
We're pretty similar lines this week, aren't we, Simon?
We absolutely are. This, by the way, if Charlton do beat Bristol City, they'll be level on points with them and potentially Stoke on 51. So very impressive season for Charlton. Would expect them to get over that 50-point mark now. Of course we would. Stoke, Sheffield Wednesday up next. We don't talk too much about Sheffield Wednesday for obvious reasons. But Stoke have been frustrating, disappointing, really, really poor for the last 20 odd games, Gab. I think I saw a stat that they got 21 points or something like that from their last 21 games in the Championship. Remember, we were talking about them as a second place team back in October at one point. They will win this game, I think. I think it will be not very pretty. 1-0 Stoke is what I'm going, because we've seen some pretty good battling performances from Sheffield Wednesday recently, albeit ending in defeat.
I think I'm going to go for a 0-0. I think Sheffield Wednesday, they've had a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in terms of some news about the ownership that's coming through. I think Stork, who's the one that's been linked with the takeover, has been at games. And I think that's given the fan base a little bit of positivity. And I think that they did manage to get a point against Watford quite recently. And I do think that Stoke City at this stage of the season are a little bit out of puff. They've certainly struggled for goals. At Coventry, they did look rather beachy when I saw them in February. And so I just wonder whether this could be a bit of a game where Stoke City just don't quite have enough sort of vim and vigour perhaps to have Sheff Wednesday open. So I'm going to go for a 0-0.
Oh, that would be a shock result and a big point, obviously, and not on the table, but for their confidence for Sheffield Wednesday's season. Sheffield United versus Swansea. We talk about beachy teams at this stage of the season, Gab. These are two teams who aren't going up or down. Could they produce goals? That is my theory, and I don't very often go for the bonus points, mate. But I see Zamfir Potnik, I see this Swansea attack, and I do like them. And I have been impressed with them, certainly at home under Matos. And I think Sheffield United have goals in this team. I'm going for a crazy Sheffield United 3, Swansea 2 home win, going for the bonus points. What do you think?
Interesting. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw at Bramall Lane. I agree. I think neither side has a huge amount to play for, and I think that it is going to be an exciting game where some attacking players have a bit of freedom to show what they can do. I'm going to say 2-2.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we come on to QPR Watford, and although we're speaking about, we think there's so much still to play for and so many storylines in the Championship at the top and bottom, there are now quite a large group of teams who you would think are just mid-table this season. Watford.
I think between Charlton and, let's say, Watford, I think there's a group of teams that you can be almost certain are going to be in the Championship next season.
Absolutely. And two of those, QPR versus Watford, is the next game we need to talk about. Watford on 56 points and 1 defeat in their last 5 under Ed Still. And QPR, obviously, getting that massive shock kind of result where they scored 6 against Portsmouth before the international break. Can they take any confidence from that? I think they might. I don't have any reasoning behind this fixture, really, mate. But I'm going for a home win. I'm going QPR 2, Watford 1. Can you shed any light on this one?
I'm going to go for a big away win, and for a very particular reason, because I think that there's different makeups of each teams, and I think Watford's makeup and sort of the personality and character of their squad probably translates better to this stage of the season. So I think QPR, the way they're built, it's very much about the collective. It's about pressing. It's about getting the ball wide and peppering the box with crossing. And that's much more about the collective energy, I suppose, which is harder to do at this stage of the season when you don't have as much to play for. Whereas I look at Watford, I think it's less about the cohesion and the collective. It's more about having individuals who can, so many players who can just do something. And I think I'd rather have that in this kind of fixture. So I'm going to say Watford win. I'm going to say they win 3-1 at Loftus Road.
Wow, big win. By the way, QPR didn't score for 4 games in a row at Southampton, Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, and against Birmingham. And in the last 2 games, they've scored 9 goals. So who knows what to expect from QPR this season and for the remainder of this season. I'll throw over to you, mate, because Birmingham are at home to Blackburn. Blackburn needs some points to get out of danger. Michael O'Neill will be targeting those. And Birmingham, things tailing off slightly for the Blues.
Yes, it does feel like that. I think it's become increasingly clear that our playoff chances are pretty much over, aren't they? I mean, I would
10
say,
points.
yeah. I mean, I think what Norwich are the ones that you would say maybe they've got the slimmest of chance just because they've got the form. We don't have the form at this stage, so it would take something quite remarkable for us to enter that equation. And I'm hoping that we finish in the top half because I think if we don't manage that, I think it would be a bit of a disappointing season. But I think that. Yeah, we've had some disappointing performances lately as well, like the 1-0 loss at Derby County, where we only managed to muster 3 shots at goal, which I think is a really poor effort, considering how little we have to lose. And the more I think of it, the more I'm sort of talking myself into Blackburn getting a big result. They managed to keep a clean sheet against Middlesbrough with something of a backs to the wall defensive performance before the international break. They won at Millwall as well. I'm going to say 1-0 to Michael O'Neill's side.
Oh, that's big. They've only lost 1 of their last 4, Blackburn. We'll see how the international break pans out for them. I've kind of gone along the same theory, but I've not been brave enough to back a Blackburn win. I've gone for a 0-0 draw at Birmingham.
Okay.
Birmingham 0, Blackburn 0. I just think that the tide is slightly turning against the manager as well, rightly or wrongly, at Birmingham this season. And you're right, they don't look like the attacking force we kind of hoped they would be right now at this stage of the season. Couple more games left for us to discuss for Good Friday, Gab, and it's West Brom versus Wrexham. And we talk about, dead rubbers and mid-table games at this stage of the season. This is certainly not one of them. West Brom with massive, massive survival boost with 2 wins in a row, taking them 4 points clear now of the bottom 3. And Wrexham in a massive battle, it seems, with, Derby and Southampton and even maybe Hull for one of those final playoff places. West Brom have looked really, really improved in the last 2 weeks, mate, but Wrexham are a very strong side. I'm on the fence for this one, as you would rightly expect. I've gone 1-1. How do you see it going?
So I was really worried about West Brom when they lost at Oxford at the end of February in James Morrison's first game in interim charge. But since then, they've taken 8 points from 4 games, all which I think is really impressive, including back-to-back wins they've come into this game off the back of, including a 3-0 home victory over Hull City. I'm going to back a West Brom win. Going with a lot of the strugglers at this stage of the season, because I am a big believer that that kind of siege mentality, especially at home, can count for a lot. West Brom back-to-back clean sheets as well. I am going to go. I think Wrexham will score because they've got Josh Windass and people like that who Sam Smith being very impressed with, Boro. But I'm going to say 2-1 to the Albion.
It's interesting, and I've looked at Wrexham's next 2 fixtures following this West Brom game, and I think it's pivotal because on Tuesday, Gab, they're not playing on Easter Monday, they're playing on Tuesday. It's Southampton at home. What a massive game that is, followed by Birmingham away as well, and obviously the big American derby that the Sky cameras absolutely love. So massive on Tuesday night. We'll see how West Brom get on against them on Friday. I've gone for a draw, and we finish, Gab, with league leaders Coventry, who host Derby in the late kickoff on Good Friday, 8 p.m. This one starts. I am I've been massively impressed with Coventry now they've kicked on, obviously, in recent weeks. Now they've kind of taken the league out of everyone's hands. Massive away win at Swansea with a really good first half performance in that one and kind of ruled that game out as a contest. But Derby have been really good lately as well. And I think this kind of John Eustace team and maybe a bit of a sticky defence might trouble Coventry more than people think. And when Coventry go on these runs, you then expect them to kind of kick on, and sometimes it doesn't quite happen this season. So maybe this is just me talking down the potential champions and the team we expect to win the league from this point. But I've gone for a 1-1 draw here, Gab. Obviously, Coventry's home form very, very good this season.
Well, I agree with you in that I've been very impressed with Derby County. I think they're very good at overloading certain attacking areas because they've got this multitude of threats where they've got Sammy Smodics and his selfless movement. You've got Aggie-Man getting in behind. You've got Brewster and Brereton coming in from wide areas into goal scoring. They're both strikers by trade, of course. Bobby Clark as well.
Sorry to interrupt, mate. It's 4 wins out of 5 now for Derby. They only lost away at Millwall, and that was only a 1-0. And it's 4 wins out of 5 against, Blackburn, Portsmouth, Birmingham, Sheff Wednesday. Maybe not the best caliber of opponent, but they're getting the results on the board and really pushing for that 6th spot. So dangerous, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when you add Bobby Clark into that equation as well, with his sort of movement and clever creativity, and then attacking fullbacks as well, I think that means that they can they've got so many ways that they can hurt teams, and somehow they've been able to balance that with a bit of defensive organisation. Like I mentioned, the fact Birmingham only mustered 3 shots against them. So I think that speaks to excellent coaching from John Eustace, the fact that he's been able to balance attacking ideals with defensive balance so well. So I've sort of talked up Derby a bit. They are facing the clear league leaders at the moment, so I want to respect Coventry's position in that. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
No, not tempted by the bonus points?
Nearly.
Not quite, no. I think this will be a very, very good game to watch, very interesting one. But yeah, I think Derby are potentially a tricky opponent. I also don't think Coventry need to be that good now to win the league, and there might be a case of just keeping the points ticking over and getting over the line at the CBS Arena. Right, that's all 12 fixtures done, Gab, for a Good Friday. We're both very much looking forward to. We'll be back on Saturday. I think I'll be back with Ollie Man to look forward to Easter Monday fixtures. So we look forward to that. Please get your thoughts in the comments down below. And welcome back to the channel. We're back with more Championship videos. We won't be gone for too long. We're looking forward to a very, very exciting end to the season. Please do like and subscribe for more Championship content, and we'll see you at the weekend. Thanks for watching, guys.